Right guys, so welcome to this week's episode of Healing with the Homies, and I've got my good friend Jack the Butcher Boy Kelly, who's a boxer and kind of a very clued in young guy. He's got his daily Wim Hof practice, he's into his meditation, and he's a very clued in, grounded kid, and he's also been practicing with some flow tanks as well as, having a pretty successful amateur boxing career, and he's looking forward to his to going professional in the next few years. So I'm really looking forward to this week's chat. So yeah, I guess we can jump into it. Oh, good. How are you, Jack?
Good, yeah, feeling good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, delighted to have you here,
It's all
man.
going
Yeah.
good. Yeah, look, just the amateur career is going great.
Yeah.
The boxing, it's going brilliant. I've been competing about 3 years now. Really
Yeah.
getting into the competing side of the boxing about 3 years.
Yeah.
It's going very good. I have obviously a silver All-Ireland medal,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping to get going now next year.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the circumstances with COVID and that, it's very hard to plan anything or
Yeah.
judge anything in that sense. But it's going great, and I'm training away still. I trained through lockdown, and I find lockdown was great. Lockdown was the starting point to all this Wim Hof meditation and cold showers and flow tanks, and really finding myself during this time, because I think it was a tough time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I was grateful that I found the Wim Hof and the flow tanks when I did, because I think it got me through the likes of lockdown and helped me a lot with my boxing during lockdown.
Yeah.
Because it was very uncertain times.
Yeah, absolutely. Because with a sport like boxing, it's although you fight individually, it's a very much so a team-based sport. Like you train with your teammates.
Exactly.
You have your coach there in the ring with you, and you do that in the club. And obviously with lockdown, that wasn't a possibility.
Yeah.
So for guys who like ourselves compete in like sports, like any sport, I guess that's kind of team based, and it's not just a solo thing. You're kind of taken away from your, I guess, your hobby, and it's almost your identity in a way. For sure, if that's
exactly. So when all this started to kick off, there was a bit of training going on, and we were all training away, and next thing all of a sudden it was gone, and you're kind of saying to yourself, right, what do I do now? But I relaxed. I kept myself saying I was working. I'm a butcher, obviously, the butcher boy, so I had to shame I have butchers and more, so and it's all going good that way. I was flat out really busy, so I found that kept my head busy at that time. And then when I was at home, I got this idea. I had a shed on my back, and me and my dad were just thinking. We were chatting one day, and I said, we can do something with that shed because the clubs are closed down. He said, yeah, no problem, we'll see what we can do. So we started to clear it out. We had turf and stuff in it, and a few bits and pieces, and I spent a good bit of money I saved during the lockdown, and I built a boxing gym.
Nice.
So me, my father, and my uncle and my cousin, we could train in there and get a bit of pad work in, weights and bag work. So we were kept going constantly during the lockdown. And then as things eased off, then we got back into training. So I'm up in Clane now, obviously, with a guy up there. And still, again, we're uncertain when we'll get back into competing, but we're training and we're getting ready and we're keeping ready.
Exactly. Putting the work in now. While things are quiet, like
exactly.
Taking us to off season at the moment. It's a very extended off season, but is what it is. And so I guess there, from what you were saying with your uncle, your cousin, and your dad, so does boxing run in the family?
It does, yeah. A lot on my dad's side and my mum's side, would you believe? Both sides of the family, more so on my dad's side. They were all Ireland champions on that side. Well, my dad and my uncle, two of them really were kind of all Ireland champions at the time. They were getting a good successful amateur career, and then obviously life hit them, and they took their own ways about it. But when I was born, then my dad, he was kind of eased away from the boxing. And so it was always there when I was growing up. It was always boxing was there. But I obviously started into the GAA. My dad, he played football too, and so it was a lot of GAA as a normal Irish teenager. Straight into GAA. I just found after time that there was something missing with the GAA. I wasn't getting that buzz as I used to. And then my dad said, well, you want to go down to the local boxing club in Mo? So I went down there and I did a bit on the pad. I loved it. I really did like it. But I kind of faded away from that and went back to the GAA. Because there was championships and stuff like that, and there was a lot of, we were winning a lot of stuff with the GAA, and I was playing well. And I was finding it was great for mental health. It was keeping me out of the house, and it was great that way. But then again, I fell out of love with it. I was getting older. School, I was changing secondary school, so I was finding. And then I was like, no, what will we do now? The boxing club closed down more, and then the kickboxing club opened. And I went into the kickboxing club with one of my friends. He was saying, come down with me. He's like, kickboxing, I don't know, I only do the boxing. So just come down. So I went down, and it was great. I fell in love again
Yeah.
because it was the boxing. It felt like there was I was connected with the box. I was like, geez, this is great.
Yeah.
Then I started doing bits of kicks and
Yeah.
I got into the likes of that, and I just went on, had a couple of fights in that, and I didn't win them 2 fights that I had at that because I noticed myself I was just punching.
I
was just punching.
Kicks, absolutely.
And I came out with my second fight. I was actually after getting I think I got a knee to the stomach, a knee to the solar plexus, and I was sore. And that my dad just said to me, if you're gonna do any combat sport, just do boxing, because he says you just seem to be punching in the ring. I think to myself, you're probably right, So that's what I did. I went straight back into the boxing to Ratton with the guys, Paul Noonan and them guys. And it went really well from there on again, and addicted, and really into it this time. Really found my love for it when I was at them guys, because I was competing more. Really getting into it, and I got great success from the minute I started competing, which was when I was about 16.
About 16. I think that would have been roughly around the time I met you.
That's right.
You would have been training in, doing a bit of sessions in SBG.
That's right,
so it was the kickboxing, and we ended up sparring, and I see I would have had a bit more experience, but you had the range and length. It was quite quite a nice competitive round. But I was like, Jesus, this kid's got a lot of talent. And I thought you'd been boxing from that round. I would have assumed you would have been boxing since the age of 9 or 10. Because you had really had a nice flow, control of your body, understanding of spatial awareness and that sort of stuff. And you also, one thing that I pick up on is you're not over aggressive while you're sparring, which I think people who are I feel like maybe if they're only training for a while, they can be a bit insecure in their skills, so they'll overcompensate in a way by trying to take your head off.
For sure.
And that just comes from a little bit of nervousness. That's what I noticed. But with you're cool, calculating, calm, which is and it's also what you say is where I can see how you're going to excel and be successful. You know, like for example, where your mindset is at. Just before we started recording. Okay, so basically before we started this podcast, we did 4 rounds of Wim Hof breathing together, and so you've been practicing that for the last few months and kind of getting into a good daily practice.
So I was starting in the morning. I kind of found from actually your Instagram, I noticed that you were doing the Wim Hof and that, and I was kind of clued into it in a sense. I would watched a lot of Bob Proctor and Joe Dispenza, and really got into them guys, and knowing how to understand yourself and your emotions and how you react to stuff and how to keep your stress levels down and keep yourself centered, really. And when I really got into that, that's where I found Wim, because I found the breath work he does, and you probably know from doing it, is just really centers you and keeps you ready for the day ahead.
Absolutely. As well as the other added benefits of it, a vastly improved immune system and greater cardiovascular endurance, lowers your pH levels of acidity in your body.
Makes more alkaline, definitely.
Absolutely, the alkalinity is just more improves how you're...
Exactly, and when you're working together, then when your body is alkaline, your body works with you rather than against you.
So against you,
you don't react as much to a circumstance. Say you don't, you're not tense. You're just nice and flowy. I find it's great for the training and for just day-to-day things like work, dealing with the public. I find it great for coming home, dealing with family members and all that. It's great that way, just to keep you. And it's great, especially for the boxing. Especially for the boxing, in the sense that I'm a lot more calmer, as you said. I'm a lot more calmer in my work and my training. And I'm finding even the cold therapy that he does, a lot of cold therapy. Great for reducing muscle soreness, and you're a lot more looser. You're not more flowy, especially with the cold showers. I'm going to probably start taking the cold baths soon enough to really get involved in that. And I seen you were doing a lot of it, and I was like, I have to try that.
It's a gradual process, all right. You don't kind of I found it started off with a 30-second shower, and then you work your way up to 3 or 4 minutes now.
Exactly.
And I used to shy away. At this stage, it's just okay, I've got a process. I'll turn on the shower as cold as possible and go.
Yes.
And on the exhale, I'm in. That's it. So I take in one deep breath, and as I exhale, I step into the shower. And for me, one thing that Wim said that really resonated with me was just do nothing, because your body knows what to do better than your brain. So you just sit and just focus on your breath, maybe in and out, small breaths,
for sure.
And just all you focus on is that. And then within 10-20 seconds, the cold water isn't so cold. It's not that daunting. And
sticking out
with consistency, it becomes
just normal.
Exactly. And finding, I think for fighters, especially with our mindsets, is that you find comfort within the uncomfortable.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of correlations between something like doing Wim Hof method. So like, you know, 2 or 3 rounds in where you're going, where
Really
you're
intense.
putting stress on your body's when you're putting stress on your body's lungs, so your respiratory system's like screaming for air, you know, and that's in that, what would I say, that's bringing up that fight or flight response within us. So it's very, very, very similar to those moments before you get into a ring, and then, you know, even in difficult situations when you're in the ring, because that's it's like your body sees it in the same way on a molecular level. It's like you know, life or death, fight or flight. So it's tapping into that same energies within ourselves. Yeah,
definitely. That's a very good way of putting it, actually. Because I notice like that when you're in the ring, you are in that fight or flight mode, and when you're doing the Wim Hof and you're in the showers, it's like a form of meditation in the shower, especially too.
Absolutely.
You know, you're trying to calm yourself down. You're breathing. You're trying to stick it out in the best way possible without telling your head like, oh God, we're in this cold shower. You need to get out of here. But once you tell your body, no, we're staying in this. We're going to get the benefits out of it, and it does. There's a lot of benefits, definitely. Huge amount, and you know, I definitely recommend people to get into Wim and his work and his breath work for sure.
Like for yourself, even there, the experience we just had of doing 4 rounds there, like how would you kind of like break down what went on?
Yeah, you know? So like it was kind of a thing where you just go for it. It's the kind of thing, and don't shy away from it, because it's very daunting at first. Like you're breathing, and you will feel that sense of lightheadedness, tingling in the fingers. But once you realise to go for that and not shy away, I think that's when you really start to get into it. I noticed my first time doing it was very funny. I was on the lying in bed. I just found it. I found out the breathing technique and the meditation itself, and I clicked onto it. I was watching Wim do it. I said, I'm just going to try it. I did like 10 breaths, and I stopped for a second because I was feeling, you know, I was feeling tingly. I was like, and the room kind of spinned a bit, and I kind of had a bit of a panic. I was like, oh God, and I jumped up. But once I started doing a bit of studying on YouTube and that on it, I said that, and Wim was saying that's normal. You know, it's normal. Breathe into it. So the minute I did the second meditation and did it, it was like my whole head just went, phew, and everything just was a lot more calm, centered, brilliant, really good.
Yeah,
you know,
it's very, very. It's like, it's interesting because a few years ago that would have been like automatically dismissed as something like pseudoscience, and say, oh, this is, you know, Wim Hof was seen as a one-man wonder. Like he's the only person in the world who can achieve, like he's got over 20 world records in the Guinness World Book of Records. For anybody who's not familiar with him, he's like climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. In his boxers, he's ran marathons through the desert in a pair of shorts. He has the record for staying submerged in ice for the longest humans ever done. It was 1 hour and 45 minutes. He was covered in like a block of ice up to his neck. He's swam the furthest length in ice cold water, like I think it's up in the northern hemisphere, like in Iceland or whatever. He jumped right in and swam through the ice. So he's had all these incredible feats, but people thought, you know, Wim Hof is a one-man wonder, but he then proved this technique and time again. So he did a clinical study with basically it's with a university in Holland, and so what they did was they injected him with endotoxins, so that would give him like flu, nausea, sickness, and he was able to improve his body's immune system doing these breathing techniques, and within 15 minutes all these toxins had left his body. So they're like, wow, that's amazing, but they obviously wanted to do more research, so he took a group of random people that were selected for him.
He put a group of people with him, you know, and
up in Poland in the mountains, and so after a week of working with him and doing his techniques, they then went and had the same medical process done to them. They were injected with endotoxins, and each one of them were able to successfully clear their body of any of this disease, or within 15 minutes. So that then he was, you know, put into medical journals, and he's kind of become a new phenomenon in science, and it's very interesting because if you look at like how you know, anxiety tablets and things for depression, anxiety are being sold to people as like it's almost like you have to have them in your pocket with you all the time. It's a norm, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, you know. So something like this that like empowers a human being to tap into their own body and it's the first practice that's ever been discovered where a human being can actually alter their own body through their mind. So it's a complete body mind and connection, and I think it's one of those really cool things where like science meets spirituality. So like for a guy yourself at your age, like it's really, really cool to see that you're getting into it, you know, and hopefully some other guys who are listening can, you know, really might want to try and be a bit more open-minded to something like this.
I'd highly recommend it, even in the sense of you're saying there, anxiety. I suffered a lot when I was younger with anxiety, and obviously I had the sports there to help me out, and I had all that, but it was really took an impact in me when I was younger, like in big time, you know. I was really in my own head. I was really eating myself up. I was finding it hard. I was getting all these, I was getting sick, I was getting this, you know, I really was eating myself up just because I wasn't aware of my own thoughts, what way I was talking to myself even, you know. And I found with the Wim, I found him at the start of lockdown, and I felt my anxiety kind of creeping back in at the start of lockdown, especially with this COVID shit, you know, all this kind of crack. And when I found Wim, I was grateful, because when I started doing it, I noticed it just completely downregulated everything that was causing my anxiety to spike, in a sense. So I wasn't as stressed, which when I was stressed, my anxiety would spike. I wasn't as tired, I wasn't as fatigued, you know. And that's why when I did the Wim, it definitely helped me with anxiety. Hugely, for sure. Hugely. And I definitely recommend it to anyone that is suffering with anxiety. Just have a look at it, and maybe go more for the Wim Hof than like the medication and stuff. Because,
absolutely.
It's definitely a natural way, it's a healthy way. As he said himself, get high in your own supply.
Exactly, you know? Exactly. And it's almost like a revolution of consciousness that's kind of happening with it, you know, we're starting to go back to empowering ourselves through our body rather than looking outside for the answers, because we have it all within, and it's just this is just a beautiful technique to connect with that. And also, so I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with flow tanks, or also they're called sensory deprivation tanks, but Jack's been tipping up to NACE.
NACE, the sleeve letter flow tanks. That's what it's called up there. It's really good. Really recommend it to anyone. It's kind of a thing not many people know about. In a sense, like I've told people, like going up there and they're like, what is that? Like, you know? But basically, it's like, you know, you have your 2,000 grams of Epsom salt in the water. It's heated to body temperature, and basically the lights are off, so you have no sensory activation, you have no sense of smell, no sense of touch, no sense of, you don't see. So the lights are off, you really want yourself. You know,
you're stripped down to you and your mind, just you and your consciousness even. So you've
exactly.
I've done it myself before. I came across it on a Joe Rogan podcast a few years ago. So I've tried it once, and I had a quite good experience, but it was a thing of, the more you do it, apparently the more you're able to let go and kind of get into it, and it can be quite a visual experience. Is that right?
It really is. Like, and eventually when you get into them, you start letting your body go more, because you're used to surroundings, and it's very constant at first because you're getting into a pod, the lights are off, you're basically just floating. And it's really good. It benefits a lot of things, you know. It benefits anxiety, number one. Benefits your brain energy, your brain waves energy. It makes you know, you can create more ideas in there. You're very one with yourself. You can visualize in it more. And also it's great for injuries, sports injuries, chronic back injuries. It's cured people with chronic back injuries, blood pressure. It's reduced people that have been taking medication that can't get their blood pressure down. It's spiked their blood pressure down to normal levels, you know. And it's something that not a lot of people know about. Again, as you said, like, so they should know about in the sense of, because society.
Absolutely,
I definitely recommend that too. It's brilliant. It's
like Joe Rogan said, quote him again here, but he has said that he thinks there should be free access to flow tanks in every university and college across the board, because he said he finds it for himself. He's got one at home. He finds it good for comedy, for his writing, sitting into the tank, and for you know, literally just getting into that creative state, because it's on that parallel where it brings you to the alpha state, alpha or the theta state. I'm not really sure on which one is the state that you reach just before you go to sleep. But it brings you to that point.
Definitely. You notice that you've done it twice so far. I'm very new to it, obviously. I've done it twice.
Cool.
Definitely the first time I was feeling it out, getting used to the surroundings, and I'd have a good experience the first time for maybe 20 minutes with you're an hour in the tank. And for about 20 minutes, when you was used to it, I let my body relax, and definitely you definitely notice you're not your body when you get into these things, and because it's just your mind, and your mind is racing 100 times, and you're basically just saying to yourself, stop, I'm in control now. And once you do that, your mind becomes clear. And that's when you can start getting your ideas, you can start creating your mind. Because you have no outer thing annoying you, you have no, say, work troubles, you have no outer troubles, you have no school, you have no nothing. It's just you in the tank, and you have a lot more things coming to you in that sense, because you're listening to yourself more.
Yeah.
You know, you're listening to yourself more, you have no thoughts coming in once you do clear that. And I find it really good for even just relax. When I come out of them tanks, I feel like I'm floating nearly, because you're so loose. Your muscles, the Epsom salt makes your skin feel nice. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'd recommend it definitely.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And so Wim Hof and the flow tank are both proven to reduce cortisol levels, which is the hormone that produces stress in your body. Yes. So yeah, like doing a double whack of that. Like if you were doing like even doing Wim Hof a couple of times a week and doing a tank, then you're really lowering like anything in your mind that like the chemicals that allow us to get stressed and anxious.
Especially nowadays, again with this COVID. A lot of people are stressed. A lot of people are listening to the news, listening to the radios, and there's a lot of negative stuff coming in. And they might not notice themselves getting stressed. That's one thing when I was younger, definitely, I didn't notice myself getting stressed. I didn't notice the anxiety coming on. But once you start doing these techniques, the breathing work, breath work, the tanks, you're more aware. You're more alert to what you're feeling and how you're feeling. And I find it great that way, because you can really bring yourself back to that state of just being one and relaxing and not letting things react to you as much. You know, you're not getting as angry as much. You're just keeping that emotional state going for the day, which is very hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like trying to stay centered and grounded all day, like despite external influences. Exactly. We all have stuff in our life that stresses us. We all want to react to situations, and we do. You know what I mean? And even to do that, you do react negatively sometimes. That's okay. You know, you can.
It's all about how you react, but it's all about how you keep how you come back to your state.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's all about how you can react, in a sense, how you react, but it's not only that, it's how long you react and how long you can stop the reaction from going as much further. Yeah. You know, Joe Dispenza talks a lot about that. You know, he's really good at that.
Absolutely. He's I haven't not too much into him. Quite familiar with a few of his videos.
Very good.
And stuff.
I highly recommend. I've got into a lot, especially his meditations are very good. Very good. He's very good. He's a neuroscientist. And he's brilliant. His work and his talks are absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, like what's his main
message? Could you compound what Joe Dispenza, what he's about?
He basically said we all have goals, dreams in life, and we all want to get to that certain area. You know, we all want to get to that goal, that dream that we really want. For instance, boxing. I love to be a professional world champion, and we all have to go through life. So and we all have our troubles in life, problems in life. It's how we can react. Really predicts how good our day will go, or how good the next day is going to go in a sense. So he really talks about how to keep that emotional state of being. You know, to help you get to that goal or dream quicker. Because there's a lot easier ways in life to get to your destination.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I've noticed on your Instagram page, like a little thing where you might put up a video of you winning a competition, but you'll tag MGM Lost Grand.
Oh yeah,
MGM Vegas. You know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm seeing that and I'm like, okay, so you understand a thing or two about manifesting, and it's like you're setting yourself up for success. You know, you might be fighting on a local show in the Midlands and you're winning that out, but in your head you're already seeing the bigger picture and the goal. You know, and that's very, very, very powerful to help you keep staying on track. You know,
you're creating energy already. Yeah. For instance, like you feel like you've got what you want already. That's what Joe talks about. It's the feeling, the state you're in, the state of being happy, positive, and grateful. Grateful is huge because you're in that receivership. He talks a lot about that. Very strong, because people aren't grateful a lot of these times now. Like, exactly. Once you start feeling that and opening your heart, he talks a lot about opening your heart, just changing your personality to the person that you want to become.
That's it.
That you want to become. Because once you do that, you're creating that energy for where you want to go. Professional.
That's it. Yeah. So you're
creating that energy, creating that.
You're already putting it out there. And you're already walking that path. You know.
Exactly.
You're not there, but you're there. You know what I mean? You're on the way. That's it.
And then picking up these little things as they go. And once you do that, you'll notice the universe works in your favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
It throws in little things. For example, this podcast. It throws in little things to help you along the way and stuff that you're interested in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like the Wim Hof.
And that's it. We wouldn't be having this conversation. Say, for example, it's like you said, the universe conspires to help you. Will Smith has a good little video that I would go back to every now and then, you know, if I need a bit of inspiration.
Yeah, yeah.
He says once you decide to do something, the universe will get out of your way and it will help you to do that. So it's like even you and I contacting each other there and like making this happen. That's just an example of, you know, how synchronicity and it's just all it's flowing beautifully for me since I've started that, and it's
which is great.
You know, it's a testament to you know, how manifestation and these things are a real viable thing, you know? Absolutely, definitely. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And it's from experience we won't know, they're definitely real because it's happening in our lives. Yeah. More so now the fact that we're able to keep ourselves at ease from doing the likes of these. That's why these meditations are good in the way, it's because it keeps yourself at bay so you can experience life in its best way in a sense, you know? Because I'm really enjoying it. Yeah. Like I had, as everyone does, growing up with anxiety was huge, you know, and
absolutely,
to find the boxing was massive because it got me out of a lot of dark places. Yeah. Like everyone has that thing that gets to know that dark place, and if I can say one thing is I say stick to it, stick to something that you're good at, stick to something that you have a love for, a passion. That's the key. When you have a passion and you feel it, and you know when you have a passion for something, that's the key. And a lot of people don't stick to it. A lot of people don't listen to their body and their heart. Or even the universe. Yeah, they're like, okay, I got to go back in and work this 9-to-5 job because that's what's expected of me. You know, exactly. They fall back into a society really of being blind in a sense. You know, and I think if you stick to something that you're good at and you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
You'll never work a day in your life because you're loving it, you're feeling good, and everything's working out. And you will get things thrown at you too.
Yeah, of course.
But once you stick to it, and do the breath works. Do everything that's going to help you. It'll be great. No,
absolutely. But
brilliant.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see how the future pans out for you now when you get back in competing next year and this sort of stuff. Because you'll be, like you said, it's switching that frequency. I feel like right now at the moment, especially if you look at the news and you go out in society, it's very, very, very much so. I don't know about anywhere else in the world. It's very much so a fear-based narrative that is being perpetuated by the mainstream media and by society in general. There's a global pandemic and we should all be afraid of it. But like, so stay away from people, you know. And we have to be cautious, but I don't think being anxious is the right way to be about it. For me, I'm grateful that like I've got this opportunity. It's like, okay, well, I know based off the science that like a technique like the Wim Hof and doing this breath actually boosts my immune system because I'm stressing it out and I'm releasing all these killer T cells, and that's improving to help my lymph nodes. So when I do come across like a flu or a cold, my body's used to dealing with it, like, and it's got, you know, rather than just having like
a constant like battle in your head about,
or even say within my body, like in my system, my immune system isn't this like, you know, couch potato that hasn't got any exercise. It's a, you know, it's a fucking Marine Corps with an AK-47 ready to go, you know, hiding there waiting for some disease to come along. And it's like, if more of this was being perpetuated to us, like, guys, try these different breathing techniques. Number one, it'll decrease your anxiety, and like physiologically your body's going to be much more prepared when you do get hit with coronavirus, because it's inevitable we're all going to get it. And for the majority of us our age who are quite fit, it's going to be a bit of sniffles and nothing too serious. That's the general consensus. 99% of people have it pass through them, you know, and they barely even notice it. It's like a common flu. So it's our elders in society, it's elder people and people with medical conditions we need to be wary of, and that's absolutely fair, you know.
Exactly. It's understandable.
But it's obviously there's a political and a financial agenda that comes with something like this, like any crisis situation. I don't know if you've ever read of The Art of War by Sun Tzu. It's an ancient book written by a Chinese general on how to control and defeat other armies. And like when you read this book, it's like, you know, the Wall Street billionaires and the corporate CEOs like Bible, but it's literally about manipulation and destroying people mentally, and, you know, creating negative situations for people so that they are so discouraged and bet down that they never look for another way, so that when it comes to the war, they've already beaten their army. Now it's a very, very complex book. There's loads of translations. But any billionaire or CEO, for example, someone in the pharmaceutical industry, they see a situation like this. Panic is profitable. So look, they don't have our best interests in hearts, and they have a very, very big hand in the media. They're owned by the media. Like, so it's like, how can you really fully trust RT News or the bankers when, you know, Vincent Brown, do you know Vincent Brown from TV3? He's an
Yes.
old school Irish
yeah,
journalist.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, when the when the Irish taxpayers' money was being used to bail out not even Irish banks, the European Union's banks, he went on a like rampage, like arguing and questioning, and there was nothing ever given back. Like he was lied. They're just danced around the questions. Why are you giving billions of our taxpayers' money to a European bank? And they would not answer that question. Why? Because there isn't an honest answer.
Yeah.
The reason is because money's going in their pocket to do so.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, he's like, he understands these things, and it's like there's always a financial gain to be made out of a crisis like this. So we just have to understand as a society. Don't be going around like, you know, saying people shouldn't wear masks. Absolutely, you should do that, and we should respect and be like cautious.
Be aware of the circumstances, you know.
But there's this beautiful side of it. It's like I'm grateful that people are now being more aware of these things because of this. You know, it's like there's these tools right now in this minute you can use it. You don't have to fucking go running off and spend $1,000 or go to the doctor and get a vaccine or 200 fucking Ritalin tablets to help you deal with anxiety. Just fucking breathe.
You know,
it's
so
very simple.
Yeah, I know in a sense a lot of people are saying, but look, when you're in that anxiety state, you're in that panic, it's very hard to open your head up. And as I said, go and just breathe in a sense, you know, because when you breathe, your mind is more clear. You get to see a lot different. And I found the lockdown, as you were saying there, with this pandemic was one of the best things that ever happened. Yeah. For me in a sense, because I was able to work on myself. And keep myself sane. Which I would be wanting of a couple of years ago. In a sense, when I did have anxiety. So when I found this, it's great, and I think to spread the message of it would be brilliant for people that are struggling with this.
Yeah, fantastic, man. And one other thing I wanted to ask you about, you were mentioning 0 points.
Oh, so
this is
it's huge. My auntie, and she's working with a girl called Morgan Lee. And they're working on this project together. It's huge. It's very good. She's doing great. She's getting great feedback on it at the moment. And I've been doing it, and it's been brilliant. It's basically just getting rid of the say your old habitual behaviours, your backgrounds, what you've had maybe growing up. We've all, when we're growing up, say the subconscious side of things. So we're taking a lot in. We're witnessing and taking it in. And when we get to the stage where we're conscious and subconscious, we react from what we've been taking in. You know, it's all coming back up through reactions, experiences, people, things we're seeing. And to get rid of it, it's great just to 0 point it in a sense. And do list is what you do. Basically, say you're someone that is reacting with you, you do a list on them, is negative to positive. So you write down the list of negative attributes on that person. Like it's not a selfish thing. When I first heard about it, I was like, "Geez, that's a bit mean, isn't it?" You know, you're writing out a list of negative things say on you in a sense. But it's not. What you react to in the person. Say it could be, say for you, when I'm doing this, and you could be aggressive, you could be unthoughtful. You do your list of negatives on that person that you feel inside when you think of that person. And then you do the list of positives, and what that does is 0 points the whole moment. And basically, you don't react to them things. You'll notice it. You won't feel as the energy. But you basically shift the energy.
Shift the energy. So you're cutting ties with them.
Them old habitual judgments, behaviours, all that kind of stuff. And it's really good.
By looking at them for what they are and seeing how they affect you on your daily basis and writing that down on paper and like letting your mind see it. So you're bringing that stuff to the surface so you can then reprogram it.
You're basically reshifting the energy to a new energy. You're 0 pointing it. I'd highly recommend you look up Melissa Deaton and get in contact with her if you want to find out more about it, because she'll give you into-depth detail on it, and it's great.
So it sounds like something I could do. It sounds like, you know.
Definitely. You may get in contact with her.
I guess really most human beings get a benefit from something like that. Yeah, we could all do it.
When you find out, you know, it's great. You know, it's definitely great with the boxing too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I find a lot of wormholes and stuff to go down, especially with the breath work, the Wim Hof and other stuff like that. It's great benefits to the boxing. And I'm noticing it's keeping me more settled, relaxed, and I'm, in a sense, being able to think of more things to do in training, add more to my game, and I'm just becoming an all-round, in a sense, better person and a better, say, sports person. Sense, you know what I mean? And I'm excited for the future.
And to be a role model as well, like for other kids, even people in their 20s, man, 30s, like fully grown men are going to listen to you and be like, Jesus, you know, that kid has it, and it's very simple what you're doing. It's very simple.
It's very easy. It's just all about getting up and actually doing it. Because a lot of people would think, and you're going to get a skeptical side. Always, you're going to get that skeptical. I'm saying put that aside and do this work, because I tell you one thing, you won't regret it.
No.
When you come out, especially in these times, you come out and you feel like if
Yeah.
you're better than this circumstance. This
Yeah,
coronavirus,
absolutely.
you're ahead of it, you're gone. You know?
It's where a lot of fighters fall flat, I think, or athletes fall
Yeah,
flat. Is that they might have everything there. They might physically they might be there. The nutrition might be right. They might be very, very talented and focused.
Yeah.
But then the mind might not be there.
Exactly.
You know, you see that time and time again in fights. You know what I mean? You see those guys who their head is in the right place, and they might not be as talented, but they are not going to give up. Whereas the other person has a bit of give in them, you know.
Exactly.
And they will overcome them because of the power of their mind and their determination and their will to win, you know.
Definitely. I noticed with me, the boxing, when I first started out, I had it there, as you said, the physical. I had it in me, the genes were there, because my father and my uncles, you know, I had it in the blood to box. I had all the technical, definitely. Once I got into the ring, I had it in there, but the mind, it was like if my body was here, but the mind was off over there. I didn't have it. Now, getting this work done, working on my head and my game, in my striking and that, and now I feel like the head is back here, and with the body, you know, and it's great. Training is going great now, especially I notice with training, it's fun, it's enjoyable. I'm not eating myself up as much if I maybe make a mistake in training or make a mistake in sparring, make a mistake in a fight. I'm not eating myself as much. I learn from it constantly, and I think that's huge. It's a win or learn situation.
Fantastic, man.
Especially with the head. Once your head, when you have it up here, you have it down. It'll come into here and it'll come into play.
Yeah. It's like the mind, body, spirit alignment. That's what you're doing. You're aligning all three things so that they're, you know, you're at one with yourself.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
I'm obviously new to it, to all this mindfulness, and I'm obviously new to all this kind of. I'm telling you, it's great, and I can't wait for the future.
Yeah, it's like you're kind of clued into something, a very profound statement. A good coach and friend of mine, Ben Davis from down in Shaolin MMA, going to be a guest on soon here, Ben, isn't that right? But he hit me with he's like, what I do is, what I use fighting, it's a meditative state, and it's like, I pray before the fight to calm the storm, and then I'll pray afterwards to calm my ego. So it's like, because obviously you know yourself with fights and stuff like that, and especially with mixed martial arts, because boxing is more of a traditional age-old thing in Ireland. When you're fighting at an amateur level, it's not as what's the word? The shows aren't the same as like MMA. It's like, you know, all music and ring girls and blah. It gives you that professional feel.
It does, yes.
Very early on. Now I've had 50 amateur boxing matches, and they stood to me so much, because going through that amateur circuit, it's raw.
Oh yeah,
it's grueling,
it
and it just is what it is, you know.
Kind of
and I actually feel like there isn't as much of an ego in boxing, because there's the competition saturated. Whereas with MMA, there's a lot of people there's a lot of lick ass and kiss ass, and it comes after fights. So I found what he said very, very much so important. Very important is to praying being a word for, you know, a metaphor for meditating, you know, just to calm the ego.
Exactly, and But even before I knew about, you know, the meditation side and stuff like that, the spiritual side, I would have prayed before getting into a fight, just to make myself keep myself happy, keep my opponent or safe, keep my opponent safe,
cool.
Keep us all
nice, man.
Good. And I noticed in a sense it was a sense of meditation. It was a sense of keeping yourself calm. But with boxing, especially, and any martial artist, I'll tell you, in this MMA, anything like that, there's a lot of emotions, especially, and a lot of stress.
Yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
Of stress, a lot of physical, a lot of emotional, a lot of everything like that. And I think it's great in that sense, because you can deal with the emotional stress, because that's one thing I found very hard to do, especially with the anxiety. Because when I had the anxiety when I was younger and I started the boxing, I noticed it kept kind of creeping up. Fight week, your mind would be wondering. You'd be saying to yourself, who's this guy fighting? Or how is this going to play out? Or you had maybe one bad training session where you weren't throwing that punch correctly. Then you go home, you'll be asleep in bed, next thing your head will be going, that wasn't great, now you do that in a fight, you're going to get clipped, you're going to get And I noticed with the likes of the Wim Hof, the breathing, the breath work in general, the meditation, the cold showers, all this kind of stuff, the tanks especially, that I was able to quiet them thoughts and just be at one with the boxing in a sense, and just really let the flow go. And I find it great, and I just really am again looking forward to the future with it, because even just trying it out, keeping that up here, the emotional state right for the boxing is huge. You know, because there's a lot of emotion with it, a lot of stress too. Again, you know, and only now I'm realizing that. Like, you know, when I look at it now and see it back then, I was stressed, and that's maybe could have affected my game a lot too.
Yeah, absolutely, because there's a lot of expectation and pressure on your shoulders when you get in, you know. And for me as well, like I would have had a very self-destructive attitude towards myself during my teenage years, so I had a lot of anger and hate towards the world and the world itself. So, but when I got into fight, there was none of that zen, there was none of that calm back in the early days. So the bell would ring and I was gone straight across, and I was just throwing. But I was like just trying to hurt my opponent, but I was really trying to hurt myself, because that's where I was at in my own head, and like I was running from my anxiety to try and like I was literally running from all that pain, the fear and sadness within, and it worked for me. That was a tool that helped me to deal and to grow up as a human. It was a coping mechanism as much as anything else. Competing, like you said, having anxiety and stress, like you get in there, and I would allow it to manifest and to kind of dictate the pace of the fight. And so when I discovered meditation and Reiki and all through my 20s, it slows it all down, and then but I've improved so much technically and just slowing down. I see a lot more, and it's obviously it's a fantastic tool, but that permeates into any sport. Like we're specifically talking about boxing. But
it does,
could be tennis, golf, fucking whatever you're doing, rugby.
It could be in any profession. It could be
any profession.
It could be in anything, like office work. It could be as butcher. It could be in anything like that.
I know
a restaurant,
comedian,
anything like
a
restaurant.
Yeah,
and it plays a huge factor, because you, as you said, once you do that, you're able to bring yourself back and just really feel less caught up.
Yeah,
you're able to flow.
Absolutely, it's like if your horse, if your emotions are a horse and you're the rider.
Exactly.
Breathwork, meditation, and like flow tanks, yoga, anything like that. They're like the reins to keep that horse in. Yeah. Absolutely, and to find that balance in life.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Good. Yeah, no, that's fantastic, man. And look, I think we'll probably wrap up there, because I think we kind of covered what the stuff we were getting into today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how things pan out for you next year when we get back into the competitive circuit. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to having you onto the podcast again. I'm sure this will be the first of many.
Yeah, definitely
be the first of many.
Thanks for having me on.
So 100%, man, and thanks for listening as well, guys. All right, peace. Cheers. Thanks, bro.
Cheers for that one.
Sweet. Yeah, that was good.